I turned an $82 account into $10,000 in just 2 weeks. Hey YouTube, Julian here, and I almost blew my funded account. But instead of giving up, I did the opposite. I took it from $82 all the way to $10,000. And today I'm going to be breaking down the 5 lessons from that journey so you don't just watch the flip, you actually understand the mindset behind it. So if you're ready, let's dive right in.
Now, if you like videos like this, I'm going to give you 5 seconds. Help me out by clicking subscribe and also commenting more so that I can produce more videos like this for you guys. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Without further ado, let's get back into the video.
First of all, let me clear up the confusion. Julian, you said that you took $82 to $10,000, but then you said that it was a funded account. So, how does that make sense? Good question. Yes, this was a funded account. How do you know that? Here's the proof. As you can see, this is my FTMO account. How do you know it has my name right here? You can see Julian. This also says that it's an ongoing active account. And how do we know that this account was actually funded account? How do you know that? Because the reward day says that it's available to claim in 6 hours. In actual fact, you can only get a payout if it is a funded account. So you can see right here, reward ratio 80-20, so on and so forth. You can see the max loss here is $10,000 and I went all the way down to minus 9.9% before I brought it back up, as you can see in the equity curve right here. So here's where it all started. I already have multiple funded accounts, but I really wanted to try something different. Something for the people who always say, "But Julian, I struggle to grow small accounts." So I thought this, why not recreate that challenge inside a funded environment? So here's how I got my account down to $82. So in about 3 to 4 days, I slowly chipped away my $100,000 account, about $3,000 per day. Julian, why not just drop straight to $100 on day one? Because prop firms have rules. On a $100,000 account, the daily drawdown limit is 5%. That's $5,000. The max overall drawdown is 10%. That's $90,000, which means that if I drop too fast, I would have blown the account immediately, which defeats the whole purpose of it. So I brought it down strategically, hovering just right about the max drawdown line, as you can see right here. And I managed to get it to $90,082. That means that from point on, if my balance ever touched $90,000, it was game over. So this is where the real challenge started on November 10 with only $82 of room left. The first lesson is something one of my students, Nathan, always says: never say die. And this whole $82 to $10,000 flip is proof of that mindset in action. Most traders, when their account is hanging by a thread, they do the exact opposite of what they should do. They panic, they go reckless, they revenge trade, they freeze. But when my account was sitting at $82, I had 2 choices. I could cry about it, or I could treat this like a challenge. Of course, I chose the challenge. And what saved me wasn't some secret strategy. It was emotional management. I didn't force the trades. I didn't try to win it back all in one shot. I only focus on executing high quality opportunities. And that is the mindset that keeps you alive with small accounts. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be composed long enough to catch a good trade so that you stay in the game. One of the biggest challenges with a small account is this: most people try to grow it too fast, and that's exactly how they blow it. So instead, I set manageable milestones, goals that were realistic for my level of experience. Now, for full transparency, I've been doing this for years. Back in my early Forex days, flipping small accounts was literally a daily thing for me. $100 to $200, $200 to $400. I knew the rhythm, I knew the psychology, I knew how to scale. But the principle applies to everyone, regardless of skill. Break your journey into phases. For me, my milestones look like this: $82 to $100 as my first milestone, $100 to then $500, $500 to $1,000, $1,000 to $5,000, $5,000 to $10,000. I didn't try to hit every milestone in day one. Every time I sat down to trade, I simply asked myself this question: How close am I to the next milestone? And what's the next reasonable step to get closer? Personally, I find the first $1,000 is usually the hardest. But once you break that barrier, it's all about consistency and discipline. By the end of day two, I was already sitting at $91,091, which meant the 1K milestone was done. Now, here's the most important part on how I approach these milestones. Whenever the zones were bigger, I didn't force full-size entries. Instead, I used smaller lot sizes but with more layers. This helped me to pace my entry, scale in gradually, and only commit fully when the market confirmed my direction. It controlled my risk and kept me steady as I moved from milestone to milestone. And remember, if you want $500, break it down. Aim for $250 and $250. If you want $1,000, aim for $500 and $500. Small wins stack. Small wins build momentum, and momentum builds confidence. That is how you grow small accounts without blowing them. So this was one of my biggest keys to the entire flip. When the account was tiny, I allowed myself to take bigger risks. Below $1,000, I was aiming for a 10 to 20% risk. Above $1,000, I was aiming for 5% risk. Above $5,000, I scaled it down to 1% risk. Why? Because when the account is small, I'm willing to take that kind of hit. And more importantly, I have the skill set to handle it. But let me be real with you. Taking bigger risks doesn't mean that I don't make mistakes. On day three, I messed up. I ended up with 105 trades that day, and these 105 trades were mostly layered small size entries. A few of the setups went against me, and because of my higher risk during that lower tier phase, some of those losses hit harder than I wanted. Most people would spiral at this point, panic, revenge trade, try to force the account back up. But here's the second part of lesson number 3. If you're going to be using a higher risk, you must have the discipline to slow down when things go wrong. I didn't fight the market. I didn't try to instantly win back what I lost. I reset. I waited for a high quality trade. I used those clean setups to recover the losses, and that is the only reason I ended up day 3 with a profit of $199 instead of blowing the account completely. Risk is like a weapon. If you don't know how to use it, it will hurt you before it helps you. Higher risk only works if you understand your setup, you stick to your plan, you know when to stop adding layers, you know when to accept loss and move on, and you have the emotional control to pause after a mistake. Most traders want high risk, but they don't have the discipline that the high risk demands. That's why I always say, if you are new, do the opposite. Start with a smaller risk. Increase your risk only after you hit certain milestones and only when you have proof of consistency. Risk is not about being brave. Risk is about being prepared. So if lesson 3 was about protecting the downside, lesson 4 is about letting the upside do the heavy lifting. A lot of traders try to flip accounts by forcing big trades. I didn't do that. My growth came from runners, not randomness. Every trade I took had clean structure, trend continuation, and solid confirmation. And once price moved in my favor, I applied the next part of my strategy, break even. So break even is how you catch runners. Break even simply means moving your stop loss slightly above your entry so that if the trade reverses, you can still walk away with profit. You can't hold runners if you are scared of giving money back. Break even removes that fear. Most traders set their break even too wide. So when price comes back, hacks their break even, and they eventually miss the real move. I keep mine tight, about 10 pips. But I only activate it once the trend is clearly moving my way. That balance gives me protection and room for the move to unfold. Another key here is this. I only take high quality setups that give me at least 1:2 risk to reward. With a small account, you can't waste trades. If a setup didn't offer a meaningful reward relative to the risk, I would skip it. High quality trades and a tight break even would be the perfect combo to catch moves that actually matter. Day 4 was the turning point. I caught a clean runner that added over $2,000 in that one day alone, taking the account from $91,285 to $93,615. No forcing, no guessing, just structure, patience, and let a good trade work. That single runner pushed the entire flip forward. Small control losses, 1 or 2 strong runners. That's the real formula. Consistency doesn't come from more trades. It comes from taking better trades and letting that good trades run further. Not to mention taking partials as the trades would move higher. That's the key for consistency. So here's something that most traders don't realize. Small accounts don't grow in a smooth, consistent curve. They grow in jumps. And my flip is a perfect example of that. The early phase from $82 to around $5,000 would feel really slow, unstable, and emotional. You are fighting for every dollar. You are rebuilding that confidence. You're trying not to get stopped out of the game entirely. But the moment I crossed the $5,000 mark on November 14th, the entire behavior of the account changed. Not because I traded differently, but because the math finally flipped in my favor. You can see it instantly in the numbers. Day 5 right here, 1,556. Day 6, 1,829. Day 7, $1,854. Day 8, 1,912. Those weren't big lucky days. Those were natural outcomes of trading the same strategy on a larger account base. Same setups, same discipline, same break-even strategy, same risk tiers. The only thing that changed was the denominator. And this is where most traders give up too early. They judge their success during the slowest, hardest phase, and they never push long enough to reach the point where compounding actually starts working for them. So this is the real lesson. Small accounts grow slowly until they suddenly don't. Once you survive the early grind, you move into that mid-tier range, the growth starts to come in jumps. And that's exactly what happened from day 5 to day 8. That phase shift is what took the account from a struggling $82 to closing in on $10,000. So that's the full breakdown of how I took an $82 account to $10,000 in just 2 weeks. Not with luck, not with gambling, but with structure, discipline, and understanding how small accounts grow in phases. By the way, I'm officially back to the $100,000 mark on this funded account, which means that from here on, anything above this is pure profit. And I can finally start withdrawing my payouts again. So this is where the real journey begins.
Future Julian here, and as I was editing the video, there's something else that just came out that I wanted to show you guys. So let's check. This is a FTMO cert. You can see this is one of my students who actually passed the verification, which means that after this, he will be getting a funded account. And you can see this is today's date. He actually just passed it. I just want to show you guys this one. Look at this, right? This is actually a $10,000 account that he actually did. And look at the max loss, right? Since $10,000 account, the max loss would be $1,000, which is 10% of the account. He actually went all the way to minus 9.9% or $997.96, which means that he was $2 away from blowing account. He went all the way to profit $500 as well, which means that he actually not only recovered back this $1,000 loss, he also profited $500, right, to essentially pass the problem challenge. So guys, essentially, this is even better than what I did. I grew the account from $82 to $10,000 over dollars. He actually took an account from $2 and grown it to $1,500. So in terms of percentage wise, he did actually a better job than me. But what I'm going to share with you is this. The 5 steps that I shared with you just now, it is actually a replicable process. It is all the things that I've been teaching you guys. Same thing, my student took it and applied it, and he was able to grow the account back. Right now, I don't expect you guys to start off with a so small amount, right, or even blow your account, right, until it's just left with a little bit before growing it back again. But I want to say that if you follow the 5 lessons that we just shared, you are able to grow that small account into something bigger. So with that said, back to you, Julian, from the video. Bye-bye.
Now, if this video has helped you, help me out by hitting the like button, because it tells the algorithm that this content is worth pushing out. And if you want to also challenge yourself, don't aim to flip $100 into $10,000 recklessly. Instead, take a small amount, $50 or even $100, try applying these 5 lessons with discipline. Aim to hit your milestones, control your risk, aim for a high risk to reward. Treat every trade like it matters, because if you can manage a small account properly, I can assure you that you can definitely manage a big one as well. Small account discipline is the training ground for the real big capital out there. And if you are taking the challenge, comment down below and say I'm in, because I want to be able to help you by creating more videos like this to help you with the process. And for those of you who are asking, where do I do my funded challenges? I use FTMO, and I will also include the affiliate link in the description because that gives you 19% off. And if you use it, it supports the channel and helps me make more content like this as well. So last but not least, make sure you are subscribed if you want more trade breakdowns, setups, psychology, funded account tips, and stuff like that. And if you want to see how I pass $100,000 problem account in just less than 2 weeks, then click the link somewhere around this video, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye bye.